All right. Welcome to the I Am Fearless interview series. I am your host, Genevieve Moana, Fearless Success Catalyst and founder of Fearless Coaching. And tonight with my Scott Weddell. Did I say your name right?
Yeah, Scott Weddell, yeah.
Weddell. Perfect. We are going to explore more about fears and give you tools to overcome them and inspire you to your own greatness. So Scott, welcome and thank you. Thank you so much for being my guest tonight.
That's all right. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate that.
Awesome. So tell us a bit about you and your mission.
Say that again, sorry?
Tell us a bit about you, about yourself and your mission, please.
Okay, well, my journey started way back in 2011, believe it or not.
Right.
This is when I woke up to the real world because I was in a serious car crash, and it made me question my life, basically. And from that moment, I don't know, I just realized that I was destined for more. There was something more for me. So it took me about a good 2 years to actually buck up the courage to do something. But then eventually I left my job I was in. I used to work in construction and I absolutely hated it. It really
right.
And I started my own business in the fitness industry, and I built up a successful business doing personal training. But I don't know, there was still something missing in my life. There was still something more. I felt like there was a pull from within telling me that there's more. But I just allowed the process to happen naturally, and it's just brought me to where I am today. So now I'm on a mission to change the world and wake people up to the real world and show people that they can actually be, do, and have anything they want to in life as long as they put their mind to it. And helping people actually overcome those fears and those roadblocks inside holding them back, because I've been there. I've made a lot of mistakes. I have held myself back, and I understand that it's all the answers are within you, and that most people actually miss out the one ingredient, and that's you. They look past you and they tell you all this how-to information. So you do this, you do that, you do this, you do that. But they miss the one ingredient out, and that's you, and dealing with you first and your blocks inside. Because if you don't take the unconscious blocks off, you're never going to allow yourself to succeed at a higher level.
That's true. That's true. So you answered my first question, which was what brought you here and what led you to start what you're doing today. So it was that car crash that was really like your wake-up call. Yeah,
that was the big wake-up call. That was the moment where I had literally, I call it the slap in the face. Somebody slapped me in the face from above, and that was the moment where I woke up in the car, and the first question I asked myself was, what the hell am I doing with my life? I was going nowhere. I was going down the wrong road. I used to go at the weekend. I would go out and just get high on drugs just to chase that high on life that I didn't have. So that was the first moment I really shook myself, and I was like, right, Scott, there's more to life than this. So yeah, it was that moment there was the catalyst for me then just walking the new path. It did take a lot of time and a lot of courage to actually break all my bad habits and behaviors, and I did fall back into them, but I was determined to not fall back in. I would just get straight back on the path, and I would go straight forward. Fall back in, I would get on the path and go forward. And it's just, I've not tried to force anything. I've just allowed this process to happen more organically, which is what I believe in anyways. If things happening organically, allowing things to take course, because people don't change overnight and situations don't change overnight. So people have got to understand that you've got to give yourself time, and you've got to be patient, persistent, and trust in the process and keep walking forward. Yeah, so it was that car crash that really did wake me up to this and put me on this path anyway.
That's true. Your story is very similar, just with the car crash to Brendan Bouchard's story. Do you know Brendan Bouchard?
Yeah, I love his stuff.
Yeah.
I used to listen to his stuff all the time, and I've done one of his courses, High Performance Academy.
Have you?
Yeah, honestly, he was a big part. When I used to listen to his stuff, he was a big part of helping me overcome what was within me, the demons within me, that I had to overcome. he's been a big part of my life. I used to listen to his podcast all the time and stuff like that. So yeah, that and he really resonated with me for that reason, and that's why I was drawn to him to start with. So now I love him. He's absolutely brilliant.
That's perfect. Yeah, he's brilliant. I love him too. So I saw your post, and that's really what caught my eyes, and that's the reason why I got you here tonight. I saw your post in one of the Facebook group that we're part of, and you said something, and you said you've been through like all the major fears that we kind of all go through as not just people, but I think they become even more magnified when we start as entrepreneur. The fear of success, the fear of failure, the imposter syndrome, and the fear of not being loved and appreciated. How did you overcome that, and how did you face them, and what do you think were the reason why you had those fears?
Well, I believe that obviously fear is an emotion that comes on when you're going to expect pain. So you feel this, you think to yourself, well, I'm going to experience pain, so you feel fear. And so what you do is you put your brakes on, because your unconscious mind doesn't want you to feel that pain, because your unconscious mind wants to protect you. And that's what your unconscious mind is out to do, is to protect you and keep you safe. So you put your brakes on, and because you want to feel pain. But the way I perceive it now, and the way that got me over it, was I am in pain anyway from holding myself back, because I want to be there. I want to be at my vision. And if I hold myself back, I'm in pain anyway. So why not just do what I'm afraid of? Then if it doesn't work out, what's the worst that can happen? Somebody disapproves, somebody rejects you. Like, I don't know anyone that's died from rejection. I don't know anyone that's died from disapproval. It's a slight hiccup. So you're in pain anyway, so you may as well just do what you're scared of. Another thing that really resonated with me is, if you act in spite of fear, if you feel the fear and you just act, it goes away. It does go away. But these fears are just basically, well, for me personally, it was going into the unknown. It was me going into the unknown and not knowing what's going to happen. So I put my brakes on, because I didn't know what was going to happen. What if this? What if that? All these stupid voices in my head. And it's just a case of realizing that they're just voices in your head trying to keep you safe, trying to protect you, and that you are a lot better than that. And when you step up and you break through the fear, like at the other end of the fear is the next stage of your freedom. And then the next time, it's a never-ending process. It's a never-ending process. When you come to the next stage of growing and up-leveling your life, your business, relationships, whatever level it is in your life, you're going to feel that fear, because it's an unknown situation. But you just need to do the exact same again. You just need to break through the barrier, take the risk, break through the barrier, and then that's your next stage of freedom. And then you just keep doing it, and you keep doing it, and you keep doing it. And before you know it, it just becomes ingrained into the way you actually go about your life and do things. Like, it just becomes a habit to act in spite of fear, and just do things. And don't get me wrong, there's some days where it will get a hold of you, and you will maybe hold yourself back, but don't beat yourself up about it. Just realize that it's not even a bad day. I call it a character building day, and you've just got to learn from it and just move forward. As simple as that.
I like that. I like that, character building day. I'm taking notes.
If I'm ever having one of these days where I'm just like, nothing's working, I'm just doing everything and nothing's working. What am I doing wrong? I'm just like, do you know what? This is just a little test. It's a character building day. It's going to help me grow into a better person. So I perceive it as being bad, because it's not. I don't see anything as negative, to be honest. I feel the negative feeling, and then I'm like, that doesn't fit nice for me. And I realize that when I feel negative feelings, that I'm not allowing myself to be who I truly am inside. I'm stopping myself from being me when I feel negative, because in my eyes anyway, your birthright is to feel positive. Your birthright is to be in abundance. It's your birthright to be in that. And if you're feeling negative, you're stopping yourself from doing that. And the only person that stops you from doing that is you, no one else. And it's like you keep yourself. It's like you keep yourself in a cage, and you're just caged in this little cage, and you've got the key to open the door.
That's true. That's true, and very true what you're saying, that you're the only one who's got the solution. And the mistake we make most of the time is to look outside of ourselves for the solutions to our problems, right? Right.
I've done that millions of times, right? I've done that so many times, and I've learned from it. But it's natural. It's natural. It's the natural thing to do, is to either look for answers outside or blame someone or whatever. But you've got to realize that all the answers are within you, and that's what I'm saying. Like people in business, in my eyes anyway, they don't need, especially when you're first starting out, or if you're in the first sort of stages anyway, you don't need any more how-to information. You need more reasons why to do things. So you don't need the how-to information. You need to allow yourself to succeed, because that's what held me back. I wasn't allowing myself to succeed at the higher level. And like I believe in success comes from within anyway. I don't believe in material. I believe in the material success comes when you feel successful within you. And I hate when people look to stuff outside of them to make them feel successful. And that's one thing I remind myself every single day in my life, is that it doesn't matter what car you've got, what house you live in, how much money you've got. It doesn't matter. Your self-worth just is. You're worthy of doing anything you want to in life. You're worthy of being anything you want to in life, doing anything you want to in life. And it doesn't matter. Who cares how much money you've got? Who cares what house you live in? Who gives a shit about any of that stuff? Because I don't.
It's true. One thing I'm going to.
It's the way I've like programmed my mind, because I'm a great believer in that. Obviously, we're all connected. We're all one. We are all the same. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if someone's fat, thin. It doesn't matter about the color of skin. It doesn't matter about anything. We are all the same.
True. I love what you said about we don't need more how-tos, right? But more I've increase your why. Increase your why, right? It's the why that we need to increase.
We've got, obviously, the reason behind that is we've got the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. So your conscious mind is where you have the ability to choose.
That's true.
You get to choose, so you can choose your thoughts. Your subconscious mind, you don't get to choose. Your subconscious mind is no choice. So your subconscious mind runs automatically on what your beliefs are within you. So if you believe that you're a bad person, then you believe you're a bad person, then you're
true.
So
who's there?
What's that?
Jason is here. We can't see you, Jason. Okay.
He's one of
okay, we lost him. He's one of your friends.
He stays in Australia. Hi, Jason.
All right. Yes. So increase your why. And do you believe that like when obviously we come to entrepreneurship, yes, we need to gain some knowledge, obviously, because we're then gonna go out and teach. But at what point is that enough? Really? At what point enough how to is enough? Because it's never gonna be, it's a never ending process, isn't it?
No. It's I'm a person that always wants to expand and grow my knowledge for business, for myself, for personal development, for whatever I'm interested in that moment in time. And it's a never ending process. Like I'm a believer in that I am going to walk this path no matter what, for how long I'm on this. It's going to be a never-ending process. And if you just get in your head right now that it's never going to end, that there's never going to be an end until you die, and even when you die, you don't really die. You just physical. We're not speaking about that. But until you leave this physical body, you are on a mission. And I believe from my heart that everyone in this world's got a calling in life, but a lot of people don't listen hard enough for this calling, and they don't feel the urge. It's an urge from within that you feel, and it's your responsibility to step up to the plate and to take that calling with your two hands and live it and be it. Because if you don't, then I'm sorry, but you're never going to feel that euphoric feeling from within. You're never going to feel that energy that this gives you. Like that's exactly why I used to take drugs. I'm not going to lie, it's because I was wanting that high on life that I've got now, because I don't need it. It's when you tap into that calling, you get that feeling, and that's true. It's speed. You can't even explain it, to be honest.
Yeah, and you can't. No. That's very true.
Words don't do it justice, but if you can tap into your calling and create a life around that calling and move towards that, then your life will be a lot better than it is now.
Fantastic. Now I've got a question, and this one might need a bit of development, but I got inspired from your bio. So how can we, as coaches, people in service business, how can we participate in the shift of our collective consciousness from fear-based to one based on love?
Can you say that again? It just went like crap.
Yeah. So how can we as coaches participate in the shift of our collective consciousness from one based on fear to one based on love?
I think that that's exactly what I want to do, is empower people. If we can empower as many people as we can to step up into their calling, and then master that. It's like if I help one person and that person goes on to help another 10 people. Then they people go on to help another 10 people. Then they people go on to help another 10 people. Look how many people have woke up. And they've came out of that vibration of fear, and they've stepped up in their calling. And when you find that calling, your energy rises naturally. So when your energy rises naturally, your vibration rises naturally. And when your vibration rises naturally, you attract better into your life. And when you attract better into your life, you never go back. It's like when I feel negative emotions, shall we call it, I hear the thought. But I don't feel it. I don't feel it too much in my body anymore, because I've raised my vibration to where it needs to be. I'm committed to keeping it up.
Perfect.
So
hey, Christopher.
Hi,
mate.
You guys are having a great conversation.
Thank you.
I wanted to just chime in a little, because you were talking about people always seeing the problem as something outside of themselves. And I agree with what you're saying, Scott. We're like very programmed for that. It's always this outward thing. And 2 years ago, I started studying these meditation courses. And one of the things that I've taken away from the instructions, is this teacher says a few different times, the further along this path, when you first start out on this path, you see 100% of your problems lie outside of yourself. And some way down the path, you see that only half of your problems come from outside of yourself. And then when you reach far down this path, you're going to come to a point where you realize that 100% of your problems come from within you.
Yeah.
And
100%. Your problems, all your problems are yours, because at the end of the day, when you open up to the truth and you realize that everything in the universe is vibration, you even though this looks like a physical reality, it's really not. We're perceiving it like this.
Yeah.
But your vibration, you're attracting things to you. You're manifesting things now. You're here for a reason. You're probably here to do something. So your vibration is what interprets what happens to you. So whatever, if you're vibrating down at fear, then you're going to perceive everything as in fear. But if you're vibrating up at love and appreciation, you don't really feel you might hear the thought, but you don't feel it as much as you do if you're vibrating down in fear. Then you give it more power, and then when you give it more power, you attract more of that to you, and then it's like an atom bomb going off in your head because you're getting all these thoughts to you that you've just brought on yourself. And that's when people need to realize and become self-responsible, that they've got the power to shift their thought. When you realize that every problem in life is just a thought, it's how easy is that to shift your awareness. And when you're getting that thought saying you're not good enough, or you're getting that thought saying you're a failure or whatever, you can just quickly shift your awareness to something more, to a better feel-good thought, and hold that feel-good thought for 17 seconds, and I can guarantee you feel relief. And then when you hold that thought for 17 seconds, another better thought will come to you, and then another better thought will come to you, and before you know it, you're out of that vibration and you've moved. All down to everything's vibration, and when we come to this this truth, then it's like you're freed. You're free.
I agree with that.
Doesn't matter. Does not matter what is happening outside of you. Doesn't matter. You're free. If you come to this conclusion, which it took me a long time to come to it, to be honest. And I remember looking out my window when somebody first told me it's an illusion. I was like, what? What do you mean illusion?
Yeah.
And it took so long. It took so long for the penny to drop. But when it dropped, I was like, oh my God.
Well, I think you touch on something that's pretty important here, because I feel like you're talking about the difference between an intellectual understanding and then an experiential understanding. Because these concepts that we're talking about here, like you can have them in your head, and you're like, oh yeah, totally. It's everything's a vibration. It's an illusion. But then, like at some point somewhere, one has to have that experience.
Yes.
Because that's a different understanding than reading a book or listening into this blab, or even me just barfing this language out right now. It's like some kind of crude way to describe what we're talking about. And I think your question, Genevieve, was really interesting while I was calling in about, so how do we make the shift? How do you impart this knowledge or how do you give somebody the tools to make this discovery for themselves?
Yeah, you have to be like a mirror. Like, you have to guide them through the process. You don't force anything on them. You don't force anything on anyone. That just doesn't work. Because what happens is, if I tell you to believe this, you'll stick your two fingers up at me, and unconsciously you'll be like, whoa, who's this guy talking to? But if I guide you through the process and feed you like metaphors, feed you like information, and just show you the way, and allow you to look within yourself and find those answers within you, you will have that experience when the time is right.
Yes.
And it will happen when the time is right. Trust me, when everything happens when the time is right. So if something's not happening for you right now, just know that it's happening for a reason, and something bigger and better is around the corner. So it's all about timing and having someone guide you through the process.
That's true. That's beautiful. And I think the key as well is to realize, and it ties into the domino effect that you talk about in your bio. When one of us wake up, right? Like, all of us wakes up in some way.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, like the 100th monkey. Like, you're talking about like the 100th monkey theory.
Yeah.
Like once so many people like wake up, then everybody else has no choice but to wake up. Is that what you guys are?
Yeah. That's where I'm going.
Yeah, like I believe anyway. If you can change your life in a serious way, like a big way, and people see that, and then they ask you like, what happened? Then they're going to open up to that. And when they open up to that, that's their catalyst for then going, well, if he can do that, then I can do it.
Yes.
See, that it's funny that you say that, because I have this experience. Once I started setting Vipassana courses, like people around me are like, what are you doing? You know, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm doing this meditation thing. And I guess to like touch back on like finding someone to like, you need somebody to help encourage you through this thing. I feel like these teachers I've encountered are well equipped to do that. I don't know that I am. So I'll say to people, go set a course, you know, and the response is, oh, I can't do that. Because
they're maybe not
do that. Yeah, you're right about that. They may not be ready.
When they're ready, they will do it. And like I said, you can't, like, that's when, if I'm going to help someone and they feel that they're not ready, then I would not work with them, because it's not going to happen. But if I feel that it's right for both of us, then brilliant, let's do it, because I know I can transform that person's life from the work that I do with them. The person's not ready, it doesn't matter what work you do with them, it's not going to work, because they're unconsciously saying to themselves, this is a lot of rubbish, we're not doing this, and they're just not open enough. Because one of the best two qualities that you can have in your life is to be open and observant.
Yes.
Open to things and observant of what's around you and what's within you. And that leads to awareness. So open, observant, and just have an awareness of yourself and other people around you, and just awareness of this oneness. And when we have awareness of this oneness, it's like, I don't know, it's just like you feel completely different. It's a knowing from within. Like you said, it's a different kind of understanding. It's like whenever I say that I'm going to do something, I just know I'm going to do it. And people are like, well, how do you know? I'm like, well, I know. And they're like, well, how do you know? I can't explain it. I just know. It's going to happen. So
yeah, you can't really explain that knowing, isn't it? There's no words.
I remember when I had when my personal development mentor, a woman called Avril, she said it to me. She was like, I just know. And I was like, well, how do you just know? I was like, well, how do you know? She's like, I can't explain it. I just know. And she's like, you will know one day, trust me. And now, I know. And I was like, it happens. It's like, you just know. So whatever you do, you know it's work.
Beautiful.
And when you come to that place, when you come to that mindset, when you cultivate that mindset and your energies, like your vibration and energy's up, there's no going back. There's no going back. It doesn't matter what happens out here. Like if something happens outside of you, financially, business-wise, relationships, whatever, doesn't matter, because you just know that things are going to work out and everything's going to be fine.
Yep, I agree with that.
And like I said, it all ties back into the self-worth thing. Just do not put anything outside of you to make you feel worthy, because you are worthy within yourself.
Can you develop a bit about that self-worth? Because to me, I know that my self-worth comes from the fact that I just am. Just the fact that I am makes me worthy automatically.
Yeah, because well, you, in my eyes, if you people that look to external things to make them feel worthy have not woken up yet. In my eyes, they've not woken up, because they're looking to this stuff outside of them. When they actually realise who they are inside and what they've got inside of them, and what they've got inside of them is just beautiful, positive energy. So if you've got beautiful, positive energy inside of you, then I'm sorry, but you are beautiful and positive.
Yeah.
But you're worthy of doing anything you want. Your self-worth just is. It's there. It's within you. And the only reason people can't feel it or hear it or see it is because they're too stressed. They've got information overload. They don't spend enough time connecting to themselves. They don't spend enough time on themselves. They don't meditate. They don't journal. They don't do all these things. They don't walk out in nature. They don't do any of that stuff. And then they wonder why, and they say, well, why am I not getting the results? Why do I feel like shit? Why do I feel negative all the time? Well, I'm sorry, it's because you don't do the work. So like wake up every day and do the work on yourself, and you will feel better instantly. Instantly feel better.
That's true.
And the first stage of a manifestation is a feeling. You feel better because you notice it straight away. And it's focus. The one thing, if people can take away from this, is focus on feeling good. Because when you're feeling good, you're in alignment with who you really are inside. And when you're in alignment with who you really are inside, as long as you keep walking that path and feeling good, it's the law that whatever you're going towards will be yours. There's no questions, there's no ifs, there's no buts, there's no what ifs. If you feel good, you feel aligned, and you're walking that path, I'm sorry, but whatever you want is yours, and whatever that vision is going to happen. You just have to be patient, persistent, with the process. It's like if I'm in Scotland right now, if I'm from Scotland to Australia, for 80 to 90%, for 90% of the journey, I am not in Australia. But for the last 10% of the journey, I'm in Australia. So you've got to be patient. A lot of the journey, you're not going to be where you are, but you've got to hold that belief that you are going to get there, and hold the faith, and you will.
Yeah, I agree with that. The persistence thing is patience and persistence seems to pay off. Like I think there's I don't know if it's like a Buddhist story. There's somebody's tradition story talks about trying to get a bucket of water out of a well and like failing, and then trying again and failing, and trying again and failing, and like the end of the moral is it's like it makes no sense to get pissed and smash the bucket or like be discouraged. You just have to try again, and you're going to get said bucket of water.
Yeah, 100%.
That's something that I feel like I fail at, because when I get an idea in my head that I'm going to go at something, and I believe I'm going to get it done. And as I've gotten older, I've watched this like fall away a little bit more, where I'll view an initial failure as an ultimate failure and just can the pursuit altogether. And now that I'm a little bit older or whatever, I guess I can see that an initial failure is just the first step towards success.
Yeah, I would try and like I'm trying to delete the word failure out of my vocabulary because I don't like it. Failure is just an opportunity. So if you're saying you're going to fail at something, if you're failing at something right now, it's an opportunity for you to say, what am I doing wrong? What do I need to do? It's not a failure's. I don't like that word. Just delete that word out of your vocabulary.
Well,
for opportunity.
I think that's the point I'm trying to make a little, and maybe you just help me get some better language for it. Like when I was younger, I'd see as a failure, I now see as like version 1 or version 1.2. Like I see these things as a stepping stone toward, like, just like you're saying, all right, what can I learn from this part so I can do it right the next time and get maybe not to my intended goal, but closer to my intended goal.
Yeah. You just keep walking the path and knowing that you're going to get there. It doesn't matter how many mistakes you make, doesn't matter how many failures you have or whatever. Just keep walking the path, and every mistake that you make's good because you're going to learn from it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's 100%. Is when I started perceiving mistakes as being good, I didn't sabotage myself for days after making the mistake. I just got on with it and realized that what I need to fix. And let's face it, we're human. We all make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. Mm-hmm. So just learn from your mistakes. As long as you're aware of the mistake, then you've got the power to change it.
Yeah. So, go ahead, Genevieve. Sorry.
Earlier, I can hear myself. Scott, you said that when someone's not ready, when someone's not open, you're not gonna like go ahead and work with them. So how do you decide when someone's ready?
I just know, like I'm quite intuitive. I just know, I just get vibes. So like if I'm speaking to someone and the way they're talking and the way I can feel them, I just know if they're not ready. And if I feel that it's not right, then I just say that it's not right for the both of us, because I want to get the best out of people and work with the best people that are ready to change the world, ready to like step up and make their impact and do what they want to do from their heart and follow their calling. If somebody's not ready to do that, then it's impossible for me to help them, because no matter what tools I give them, no matter what mirror I give them, they're not going to take the information and go within and find those answers. Because that's what changed my life, is being guided to find the answers within me.
So how long do you think it takes someone to make that shift?
Oh, everyone's different. Everyone's different. Like for some people could have an overnight shift. Some people, for me, it was that car crash was like the wake up, and then it was more of a gradual shift out of it. But some people wake up. Some people have like outer body experiences, and then they'll wake up and be like, "Whoa, what was that?" So it just depends on the individual. Some people will take a course of time to understand things. Some people will understand it like that. If you say something to them, it will just flick a switch off in their mind, and they'll be like, "Whoa, I get that." It just depends on the individual.
Right. There's something I wanted you to develop a little bit. In your bio, you say that you work with people on their why-to problems as well as on their how-to problem. Can you explain that?
Yeah. So your why-to problems are your reasons why to do things. So we go into your subconscious mind, we go into your unconscious mind and remove those blocks, those beliefs that are not serving you, so you can actually take the brakes off. The brakes off and then start driving down the road. That's the first step, the first biggest step. But basically what I mean by how to is like give them basic information, give them information to then start doing things in their business to start growing it. So working on their why to problems, as in getting them in alignment, getting them rid of the beliefs and the blocks holding them back, and then giving them guidance and showing them what to do and how to do it. That's what I mean by that.
Okay. Do you think somehow the limiting beliefs that we have are like a blessing in disguise somehow? Because if they were not there, you wouldn't know that you need to move past them.
Yeah. Well, yeah, to be honest, now that you said that, if you don't have them, you wouldn't know that you've got stuff to work on. But I do believe that you get to a point where you might have some beliefs inside, but then it's a choice. It's a choice whether to believe that anymore. And I remember, like, I'm one of these people that likes to work on myself a lot, and I used to like look for problems within me, and I used to create problems for myself. But then I realized that belief's a choice. Belief is a choice, and you get to choose what you believe. So, yeah, it probably is a blessing in disguise that we have these limiting beliefs. But when we come to that and we start removing those, they then become to a stage, and I see this all the time, is where people are like, "Well, I'm trying to work on this, and this is me as well. I need to find out what's wrong with that. I need to find out what's wrong with this." And they just start creating problems for themselves. That's the stage where you can say to them, "Well, belief's a choice. You get to choose what you believe. So if you want to choose that you can be a millionaire, then you choose that. If you want to choose you can have anything you want in life, choose that. Choose whatever you want to choose and believe it, and do not care what anyone else says, because it's your belief, and you have the right to believe whatever you want to believe." So these things are probably a blessing in disguise, because then they allow us to grow and expand, and that's what we're here to do. At the end of the day, we are here to grow and expand, and that's the nature of us. Like our hair grows, we grow, everything grows, and we don't here. We are the universe expanding and growing. Simple as that.
Yeah, love that.
I gotta bounce, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for joining.
See ya.
All right. Yeah, the sound is better now. Okay. I want you to develop a little bit about the domino effect, and I think you were talking about that before Christopher joined.
Yeah. Basically, if I can help 50 people, let's say 50 people, then every single person there helps 50 people, then 50 people, then 50 people. You've just got this big tree of people that are eventually going to wake up to what life is, and then that, like you said, contributes to the collective consciousness. Everyone, the energy, the vibration of the planet raises, and when that happens, evolution happens. We've done what we're here to do. That's exactly what everyone's here to do, is to play their part. To play their part in for the raising of the vibration of the planet.
Very true.
Simple.
I love that, and I totally resonate with that. And because we are into entrepreneurship and we are talking about this, I did one of Anthony Robbins' training, and in one of his videos, he said that entrepreneurship is as a spiritual thing, in that you take something from the invisible and you manifest it into the visible.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, well, 1,000,000% there. Being an entrepreneur is a spiritual journey in my eyes, because you actually, when I first started in business and I started interacting with people, I actually realised how much shit I had going on inside of me. So I had to then work on myself. And then when I started working on myself, then I opened up to the world. And it just gets a hold of you. And when it gets a hold of you, there's no going back.
Yeah.
There's literally no going back. And it definitely is a spiritual journey, because at the end of the day, if you're focusing on your business and you're growing your business, you're expanding and growing, and you're impacting, especially if you're into the coaching side of things, you're impacting other people at a deep level. If you're life coaching or whatever sort of coaching you're doing, you're making a serious difference in the world, like a really big difference. And a lot of people don't realize the difference they make in the world. And it's one thing I really need to remind myself every day is, it doesn't matter what small action you take, you're making a massive difference with that small action, like a really, really big difference with that small action. So don't ever say that you're not doing enough. Even though I'm quite a really driven person, and sometimes that I do think that I've not done enough. That's just my nature, but I know how to deal with that. And it's just, for me, it's just more. And that's just the way I am. I'm like really, really driven, and I've got this calling I want to fulfill. So I'm driven. And sometimes that's the way I am. But it's one thing I really need to probably work on, is to take more time out for myself. But I'm working on that.
We all work in progression.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of the pains that we go through as entrepreneur will diminish if we just go back to the fact that it's a spiritual thing. Because from what my experience, from what I've seen, we get so focused on, I made this, I closed 10,000 in sales, and then you have other people looking at that and thinking that I haven't got that, I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
You know.
Like I said, it just goes back to what we've been saying, is don't look to things out with you. Stop looking to things out with you. Yeah, it's good to do that, but make sure it's coming from a place of authenticity. It's coming from a place of real, and it's coming from a place from your heart, that your best intention is to help that person, and your best intention is to give as much out as possible and expect nothing in return. When you bring yourself to that place, then things start happening better for you. So that, like it just all comes back to the self-worth thing as well. People looking outside themselves to to, like you say, close 10,000 in sales or whatever, yeah, it's brilliant doing that, but it's not the be all and end all.
So true. So true. Perfect. I've enjoyed this interview so much.
Yeah, me too.
We're coming to an end. So tell us, where can we find you?
Well, at the moment, my website is actually under reconstruction. That won't be up till after the year. But it's just at this precise moment in time, it's just Facebook. I've got two. You can either find me on my personal page, which is just Scott Weddell, or you can find me on my business page, which is Scott Weddell, then a wee hyphen transformational coach. And I can give you the links if you need them.
Yep.
I'll send you through the links straight after this.
Brilliant. Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being my guest tonight, and I've enjoyed it so much. And I think our guests have enjoyed it too.
Yeah, that's been good.
Yeah.
I love talking about this stuff.
It's the end of 2015, but I'm sure we'll have another conversation next year.
Yeah, 100%, definitely.
There's so much to talk about.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm wishing you a wonderful time over the holiday, and we'll see you next year.